What's up, guys? HellaBass here with another Boatside Chat IG live replay with Pete from Omnia Fishing. We cover a whole bunch of good stuff. Show off some of my historic custom visor collections. We get into talking about fishing Elite Series as a co-angler. We talk baits, swim baits, jerk baits, topwaters. We talk about sun protection. We take a big deep dive into evolution, conditioning of bass, and why things work in certain parts of the country and other parts. There's a lot of interesting topics. It's going to be a long episode as usual. There is an audio version of this podcast available. There'll be links down in the description and the comments below. As well, I will put timestamps of all the different topics in the description and in a comment below. So if you want to jump around and just listen to different topics, that's totally up to you. So we'll make it completely digestible, easy to follow. If there's anything you like about this, leave me a comment below. Like, subscribe, comment, and enjoy the episode.
Not cool. East, west, whatever. Come on. It's all the same thing. Thoughts on the Abu Garcia Silver Max? Can't say that I have any thoughts on that. I'm not even sure if that's a bait caster or a spinning reel. I think I've used a couple of Revos in my life, but other than that, we don't really have any opinions on the silver. I don't know what it is. Unless it's maybe a bait. I do have one Abu that I bought cheap at a Bass Pro when I was on a work trip just to go fishing in some ponds behind my hotel. So maybe that's what it is. Let's go look. Was it like a $50 bait caster? Then maybe I do have one. Not wearing out. How much did it cost you? What is a Silver Max cost? Maybe I do have one. Let's go look. My pile of reels not on. I do have one. Ha! I lied. Silver Max. It's not a bad first bait caster. It does have a brake system on the side, so it does allow you to adjust it. I think it costs about $50 at Bass Pro. Not a bad reel. It's probably not going to last you forever, but it'll get the job done. I probably, if you could swing a little bit more, I would look at the Daiwa Fuego or the Shimano SLX, especially if you could grab one of them on sale. And then you'd be paying almost the same amount of money. But nothing wrong with this reel. I bought it, caught some fish on it. I put it on a couple-piece travel rod, and used it for some pond hopping behind my hotel on a work trip. Caught plenty of fish. What's up, Pete? Does anybody want to chat, or do you just want me to talk to myself? Oh, D-Rose. Come on, Dave. We could join. Or Pete, do you want to talk? Is that what? Does this mean yes? Does this mean maybe? What's up, PK Fishing? But otherwise, I was about to dig through my topwater box and cull out some topwaters I might get rid of to make room for new ones. I was also going to do that with my jerkbait box. Visor collection on my left shoulder. I don't think so. I have a really old Gopher Bassmaster's visor from a club days. That's all up on the wall. Yeah, there is some visors up there. I do see them now up a little higher. But this was my first bass club I was ever in, Gopher Bassmasters. So I've got that visor. Yeah, I see them. I'll grab them in a second. I can see them. I see what you see. So we do have that one. We could talk custom visor. I see why Pete probably doesn't love the visor now.
Yeah,
require a lot of sunscreen to rock the visor.
Yep. In fact, I wear all drawstring sun hoodies so I can tie it on my head.
Oh.
Man, you do have a huge collection there.
That's actually a good call. Yeah, I do. I'm a big fan. I wear a lot of the AFCO hoodies that type of thing. And I'm almost always hood up with the visor.
Yeah.
And
Can
then,
you cinch the AFCO ones down?
Yeah, way better than a buff. Hoods, way better than a buff.
Yeah, but can you cinch the AFCO ones down is what I'm saying.
My head's so big it cinches itself. So.
No.
All right, so here's one of my custom visors. This was a free hat that we got at one of the divisional tournaments, I think. And one of the rules in a bass tournament, whether it's Bass Nation or Opens or whatever, you have to have a bass logo.
Yeah.
So, forget why. The one year we fished Bass Divisionals, our jerseys never came. So our jerseys didn't have a bass logo on it. So we had to wear some kind of a bass logo. So I cut the top off this thing and wore this across the state. So that's what this one's from.
Did you get the visor that I sent you?
What's that?
Did you get the visor I sent you?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Hey.
If not, I'm about to place another order. So.
Oh, maybe I'll stuff it in there if he didn't send it.
So this is an old True Tungsten visor, Pro Staff. There was a lot of people on the True Tungsten Pro Staff. This one was so worn out, I actually had to have my mom throw some extra stitching in it because it was falling apart there.
Nice.
This one was this color.
That's devotion.
I wore it so much that it sun faded to that.
Yeah.
This one has caught shaded a lot of fish catches in its day. This is legit. I probably should keep this in the boat for some mojo. Like this has got some serious mojo in it. This is a Akinetics one. There was a company that kind of tried to start up and do some like hook Under Armour stuff. They sent me some stuff. Do have a Kruger Farms actual visor.
Oh, nice.
Never really wore that one much. Pete, when are we going to get more of those drummies at the Ghetto Hotel in Fergus?
Who was that? Oh, that's Benjamin Oliver. He's a camera. He was actually one of the guys at Bassmaster. He did Zona's show.
Okay.
So now he moved on, got a big corporate job. Hammer. Yeah.
This is another. I think I bought this one when I fished the Elite Series event as a co-angler on Amistad, and I think I needed to have a small bass shield to wear. So this was my bass shield at Amistad. So I bought this from like their trailer to wear across the stage.
Nice.
This one's caught a few fish.
Yes, it has.
One of the Minnesota outdoor tackle companies didn't quite make it.
Oh, that sucker catches the ladies too.
Yeah, this one is going to look like this one probably by end of next year.
Nice.
This was a good one. I had another True Tungsten camo hat that I turned into not my straightest cut ever. This one was a little jagged. As you can see, if you watch my latest video, you'll see I'm much better, a little steadier with the scissors now.
Yeah. No, that was cool. I just watched it.
And here's an EMA.
Ooh, that belongs in my fishing room, buddy.
I'm a big fan of the EMA square bill and the EMA shaker.
The Roomba's pretty good too.
I do have some Roombas. I just don't think I've thrown them much. But they're more like a -1, basically.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So I do have a few of those. I just never really threw them. The skimmer's okay if you're like in a super calm, like glass water pressure. Like if you're like, but who did I draw at Amistad? First day I drew Glenn DeLong, and that's where you say, ooh. Glenn DeLong, I think he only fished 1 or 2 years on the Elite Series. He qualified for the Opens, made it happen. Probably wasn't quite ready when he made it. I mean, that happens to a lot of guys. I don't know. We both weighed. I think he had a limit for 7 pounds, and I had 4 fish for 7 pounds in Amistad. This is when Amistad was like blowing up. So way down the standings, both of us after day 1. Day 2, I drew Takahiro Omari, which was pretty cool.
When was this one?
It was the year that Derek Remitz won Amistad.
Got it.
So like first or second year, I mean like one of the first couple of years of the elites. First time they ever went to Amistad. I think. Or first or second time. I actually pre-fished with Derek Remitz just because he was from Minnesota. I just like sent him a Facebook message and was like, "Hey, I'm going to be down there. I'm fishing the tournament. You know, you want somebody to jump in the back of your boat?" And so yeah, he's totally cool. We went out. That was my first day. Like, what I remember the tournament was like February or March. That was like my first day fishing. You know, I flew down there, stayed at my dad's place, and I got to see him basically dial in. He already was on it, and he kind of like locked in the pattern he was on to win that tournament on Amistad. And he was fishing like 10-inch worms and football jigs on like a ledge that went from like 30 to 50 feet, like a super deep lake ledge. It was pretty cool. I set the hook one time and caught like a 5-pounder, and he's like, "You probably shouldn't have set the hook on that one." I was like, "Oh, all right." I think he set the hook one time, and it was like a 7 or 8 pounder.
Yeah.
And then, Omari the second day, and I was super jacked because like he had like 26 or 27 pounds the first day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch him tomorrow."
Yeah.
And like none of Talk's stuff went on day 2. It was like I actually we each caught a couple little fish. And then his deal was like throwing a crank off like a ledge creek channel with timber on it and wood. Not exactly, like a lot of like they have different kinds of bushes and hardwood trees and stuff down in like.
Was it deeper than 5 feet?
Yeah, for sure. He was fishing up pretty deep. He was throwing like a DD22 or a Lucky Craft version of like a DD22 back then. Yeah. And that's what he told me to bring, and like we threw those and hooked them and lost a bunch of plugs and timber, and then I started dragging plastic, and I started picking up a few fish, and then I was dragging a Mojo rig with a wacky, like a fat, almost like a Senko, but it was something. It was the Reaction Innovations had a worm that was a wacky worm that kind of had like 2 dumbbells on the end of it.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember
what it was called. I was wacky rigging that on a finesse Carolina rig.
Trixie stick or something like that?
Like a 6.5, 7 pounder, and I had Talk lip it for me, which was like awesome.
Yeah, that.
And that like definitely like derailed him for a while that day. And he scrambled just to catch like 5 dinks for like 7, 8 pounds, and I had like, I don't know, with that big one I had low teens, 13, 14 pounds or something. That jumped me up in the top 50 to fish day 3. Then I fished with Jason Quinn Hardware.
You did? Holy cow, you got a whole bunch of draws on that one.
Yeah, so by making the cut, I got a day 3. And his main deal was flipping bushes on the Mexican side. And so that was a little rough for me because he was like basically pulling up the bushes and just dropping like beavers on 1 ounce weights down in, and he knew which ones he wanted to fish. I ended up catching some good fish, throwing power slugs weightless out the back of the boat towards other shallow bushes. But once I caught a couple good ones, then he really locked it down on me and didn't give me much. So, but either way, we both had a decent, like we both had like 15 pounds, and we both got a decent check.
Nice. How many black power slugs do you still have?
I don't know if I have any. It was when they came back out for just a while, and I bought a couple bags, so not many.
Damn. We actually had Spike It make us black dye, and we were dyeing all the other colors that are out now black, and don't work.
Yeah, I remember catching a lot of fish on the black shad.
Yeah.
And the red shad, and I also caught a lot of fish on pumpkin seed on a lot of our clear northern, like Bemidji, Brainerd lakes and things like that. And then like sand docks, the pumpkin seed power slug was legit.
I had a good year on Tonka with them just in the last couple of years, and then that burned me. It was one of those things where I went out and bought every one I could find everywhere because they were gone everywhere, and now I can't catch anything on them.
Were you fishing them on a jig worm? I heard that was popular out there.
Jig worm and a flip shot, like real deep, bombing it out there on like a bait caster, a little short drop shot.
Sure.
Dragging it into the edge of the coon tail, but don't work anymore.
You showed all the fish that wanted it. Now there's
I guess.
not that one. Think of something new, Pete.
I guess. Instead of baits from the 80s. So what else? I saw you posted on BBC that video. That was hilarious. I saw you cut the visor out.
I was surprised how many people were actually said visor. I figured that crowd would have been all hat all the way. But
that used to be back when I was working with Daiwa. I can't tell you how many people would harass me everywhere we went for shows and stuff about visors. You guys got to have a visor. You guys have a visor and it's never in stock. I want to get a visor. So we'd get visors and no one would buy them. And I get just shredded on why did you go get visors again. But it's funny because visor guys really want their visors. They really, really do.
Yeah. So I've never had that problem. I've solved the world's
You just make your own visors. Nice. I like it.
What's up, Bob Downey? Brad Overstat? My former intern, Brad Overstat.
There's Casey Yarn from Daiwa. He just joined.
And Matt Deutsch from the Midwest Angler Podcast.
What's up, Casey? I saw Casey was running around with Ayler today, doing a little bank.
Yeah. Out west.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I'm I think pool 2 on Saturday.
Pool 2? I don't know what I'm going to do. I was supposed to go today, and today got really busy at work, so I did not go fishing today, so now I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend.
That's a good thing, right?
No, it is, but I was hoping to sneak out today while the weather was so nice.
Yeah, I was really... So here's what happened to me. I bought some ribs, like a couple racks of ribs to throw on the Big Green Egg this week, and I was like, looked at my work schedule. I was like, I'll do them Wednesday because I got like breaks in my work, so I can like get them prepped and get them on the egg and go for several. I think I threw them on at like 1 o'clock, and then like didn't think to look at the weather to see like which day would have been the day I wanted to sneak out after work.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Where are you going after?" And then I was like, I kind of told the family I was making ribs, and I'm going to be monitoring the grill, so I guess I'm not going anywhere today. So
yeah, today was the day to get out for sure, but I'm sure they'll still bite this weekend somewhere.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty decent. I was debating Sunday or Saturday, and I think Sunday looks like an east wind, so that might be a little more frontal, or post front. So I think Saturday there probably will be not as nice, but I think there'll be a decent bite on Saturday. So
yeah, I got to get Bob Downey on here to give me some little sneaky Wisconsin hole that's close.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
It's close to the side of the cities you live in, so.
Yep. Yeah. Stop distracting me from my homework, Jacobson.
Your protege.
Jacob had a project on his hands today.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got some new products in today that he was having to do all the photography on. So, Parker, you want to know if we can get the Z1 and Z2? I looked at them. We actually, Ryan from Megabass sent us some stuff on it, but they're light, man. I mean, I know, I get it. They're cool. I'm a sucker for anything new from Japan, and I jump on everything, but quarter-ounce crankbaits, dude, come on.
So they're just like little crappie crankbaits, little shad.
No, they look like the size of a normal crankbait. They got that LBO weight transfer in them from Megabass, but that's a big trick I learned from my days buying Japanese stuff from my Japanese buddies at Daiwa. I would look at something and say, man, that thing's cool, and I'd order it, and it would weigh like less than a quarter ounce. And you're like, well, I mean, it's always cool till you try and throw the thing around, and then you're like, why did I buy this thing? So
then you realize it's designed to throw on 4-pound line, and nobody's going to do that.
You got it. So, but Parker, good call. They look cool as hell, and I wanted to jump all over them, but I just don't know how quarter ounce is going to go.
For some reason, Omnia wants to focus on things they're going to sell in turn.
It's weird that way, isn't it?
Like, what fun is that? Like,
yeah, but there's some other cool Japanese stuff we got our hands on, so there'll be some stuff popping up slowly, but
this reminded me of a crankbait when you said that.
Yeah,
that I saw in the box the other day.
But to Rich's point, we're trying to focus more on filling in all the holes we still have from being new. That we got to get loaded in before we go too nuts on some JDM stuff. What is that?
This is a so Evolved Bait had a Soul Labs or Soul 5 Labs crankbait line for a while. So the same people that made like the Compact Craw and the Evolve Nervous Walker Frogs.
Okay.
They rolled out some hard baits, and this thing is like kind of like a lipless crank with a shallow diving bill on it.
Almost like a Ema shaker, yeah.
Yeah, but it
less of a square bill.
Doesn't have a weight transfer system, and it casts impossible. I look like Minecraft. We just got like our internet upgraded. That's like should only be my wife watching Netflix. My kids should be sleeping and not on their tablet. So I would think that it should be pretty good. It looks really good on my end.
Yeah, you're real choppy on my end.
Weird.
Yeah, no, it's I've got a lot of tiny baits upstairs in my fishing room that I bought that I thought were going to be catchers, and they're definitely 4-pound test spinning rod crankbaits.
I feel like you think they're really harder to throw than a speed trap?
I don't know. I had a buddy down south tell me once that all those guys were catching them on a speed trap, throwing like 20-pound braid and a really whippy rod. And it did work. It cast like crazy, but I just can't wrap my head around throwing 20-pound braid on a crankbait like that.
You talking about these, Craig?
What are those? You're all fuzzy from my end.
Oh, man. Sucks that I'm fuzzy. I don't know why. These are the Evolved Nervous Walker Frogs.
Oh, gotcha.
They're, probably have some in a box somewhere. Some frog box. I don't see it. Probably put it on my shelf because it wasn't planning to go frog fishing yet. So there's that fuzzy still.
You're better.
But they're pretty good size, but like super, like just nothing to them, soft. Giant hooks. Yeah, like. And they just continued this before they even like went under, and I was like, saw some spinner bugs in the Omnia video in the background.
Good catch. You're the first one to call us out on it. Got a little bit longer before I can talk about them, though, but
I don't even know what a spinner bug is.
Spinnerbait.
What's that?
Every bait gets Josh Douglas and called a bug at the end. So you got a chatter bug, a spinner bug, a crank bug.
So what other people? What do you guys want Omnia to carry? Let them know in the chat right now. What do they not have that you need them to carry?
And I can let you know some of what's coming. Because it's getting harder and harder every day now.
To keep it a secret or to get new stuff?
No, to get more and more and more onload. We have a pretty aggressive schedule to onboard new products, but with all the COVID stuff, it's slowing down a lot of suppliers and stuff, and so things are popping in, but it's on a slower schedule than we'd like. We want to be a little bit more aggressive than we can right now, but luckily we've been getting a lot of support locally, so things are going really, really well. So it's helping us along in the process. What is that? Oh, some Dobbins? Yeah, that's come up a lot lately. It's come up a lot lately.
This one remind you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a hot topic in the office of late. There's a few on the checklist there that we got to do. Smaller spy baits would be good, like smaller than the Duo and Arashi ones.
Like the smaller size in those, or like special ones, like there's the Duo 90.
Yeah.
Which guy? I mean, you guys have. I saw you have the Arashi, right?
Yeah, we got the Arashi, we got Duo ones, but maybe we just have the bigger size in the Duo. I can't remember in the Duo right now. I know. Yeah, the big one. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, we can. That's a good call out. Like we can. We that's an easy add-on to grab the smaller one, which I like. It's funny because I'm such a snob. I all I had was the Duo ones, and I literally never caught a bass bigger than maybe 2 3/4 on them in my life. But for some reason, I was snobby and thought only the Japanese ones would work, so I didn't want any of the Storm ones. And then Brandon Polinick, when we were in Chicago at a show one time, was like, "Are you nuts? You haven't thrown it?" And I actually did, and I do. I like it better. I actually like the Storm one better. It's actually a good one. But I got Kenny. To your point, we got something cool. JDM prop 8 that should be around by next month, hopefully. But good call out. We should get some smaller ones. Well, hey, I got a question for everybody watching. If you like them, and you too, Rich. Good underspins, like good underspins. Like if we were only get 2, like some good ones. I'm not
whichever
a
one
guy.
Whichever one Matt Allen says to get.
There you go. Yeah.
I haven't fished them a ton. I've heard really good things. I think Hog Farmer has a really good one.
Okay, that's a good one. I know.
I mean, that's a good one to look at. And I don't know how much they work. I know they sell through Tech Warehouse and some regional stuff, but I don't know how aggressive they are outside going out of their kind of.
That's 2 votes for Hog Farmer. All right. Yeah. I don't. I remember buying them when they came out like crazy because I thought obviously they were going to be the deal. And up here, I haven't done much with them up here. And then I know it's a spotted bass thing, and obviously we're a little far from the spotted bass, but
yeah, I've played around with them a little bit, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried them a ton, but I always feel like I get more bites on the plain jig head than I do on the underspin.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was going to say I asked a couple tournament anglers that I know, prominent tournament anglers, and they said exactly what you just said. Cut the blade off and you'll catch more.
I mean, I want them to work.
They look awesome. Makes too much sense. I mean, Casey Ashley would tell you a little different.
There's a couple of them in there. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I have some, but I didn't like that one's cool. That one's got 2 blades on it. I don't know what it is.
Fish head spin, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Those ones are the same, I think.
Yep, fish head spins. Why don't you just lie and tell me you smash the hell out of them and make one with your line and just sell me some?
I'd rather you carry Dobbins than some stuff with myself.
Not a lot of votes on the underspin.
That's how. I mean, you guys seem to be definitely picking up some momentum in this market.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing outside of this market? Honestly,
the markets that we've paid attention to work on, because we're obviously trying to stage the growth, have done very well. The problem is getting your assortment right? So if you want to be a legitimate servicer of a market, you got to have the right stuff. So working on some of that stuff. So.
Kenny brought actually, you said that, and I bought some of these on clearance at Gander when they had their inventory reduction.
Yeah.
So I grab these. I mean, I haven't tried them. I just bought them back in November or December, whatever that was. But they have a nice screw head on them. Decent looking blade. I mean, so these ones, I mean, you already carry 6 cents, so this would probably be an easy grab.
Yeah, no,
definitely worth looking
an easy grab. Good call.
Yeah.
Yep, good call. That's a good call. I'd probably go that route for now because
they look decent.
Because just in the last couple of weeks, to your point, Rich, when people have reached out from other markets saying, "Hey." Ooh, really choppy now, bud.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I did see my Wi-Fi spiked.
I can hear you, but I can't see anymore.
Well, I was trying to show you the Crush Flat 75.
Oh, yeah. No, I had a bunch of people light me up this spring telling me that those things were catching them in a lot of guys' boats that were sponsored by other people. But I haven't got to fish with them.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I've heard good things. I was hoping you'd have them. Oh, what else? So, basically nothing's on the site because Jacob's doing homework and not getting stuff posted.
Jacob was carrying some weight today. He was doing some work, so we'll have some fun stuff to talk about on Monday. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Just got to get more. We're already gonna run out of space soon, which is a good thing. So it's a real good thing. We appreciate everybody paying attention. So rock crawlers, good call, Kenny. Good call. Hey, funny thing you say that, Kenny, because I've had 10 people told me that, and I completely spaced rock crawlers, and we just talked about baits the other day, and I did not bring those up. Good call.
I don't think I even own a rock crawler.
I haven't thrown it either, but I know for a fact they're a bass catcher. They are a bass catcher. So what's your plan for this weekend? You said pool 2?
Pool 2, I'm thinking. That's my tentative plan. It looks like the ramps are back open. It's high, but probably should be pretty fishable. It's the closest place to my house that I can legally focus on bass.
Yeah.
So
pulling it out of your ass. What do you think what do you think you'll be catching them on?
It's a good question. Maybe a jerkbait, maybe a flat side crankbait, or a jig. Probably that's probably just those 3. Maybe a swim jig or a flipping jig.
This early, I was just going to ask you what kind of jig, and you just answered it before I said it. Do you throw any finesse like round ball jigs, or your jig in like the tungsten one, the smaller sizes?
I will give my jigs a finesse haircut at times. I do have a few like Eakins jigs. I don't use them very often, but I will. Like here's a football jig that I've just trimmed down to nothing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll typically do is just use one of my Archie jigs and just give it a finesse haircut.
Got it.
Just to keep things simple and inventory down in the boat. Like I don't feel like I need 1,000 jigs. So. Can't seem to find one that's super finessey. But.
Parker, get some slugs. Like power slugs, or what kind of slugs you talking about?
Waldo in the house. But yeah, so I mean, I'll probably flip a 3/8 ounce jig with a. We'll see how warm the water is and make a decision on the probably a speed crawl. I would say based on this water temp. It depends how dirty it is. If it's dirtier, then I'll go something a little bigger, maybe like just a straight up chunk with just kind of a slow flap. Then a swim jig, go with like a real light 1/4 ounce swim jig with maybe just a single tail grub and just kind of creep that around in case they're hanging on some flats and things like that. So
I've only fished pool 2 a couple times, and I think I went when it was warm enough to just kind of do anything. He was like a hero. But that's before gray cod was blown out.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the last time I went there, the only time, I've only been there once, and I went there pretty early, and the water was really ripping, so I had a tough time finding them. And I only found one little stretch where I caught 3 or 4 flipping a jig on a rock bank. But so I think it'll be not quite as high this time. A little bit later, the water will be a little warmer. It might be a little easier to figure them out.
Yeah. Jacob wants to know what your chunk or cold water jig trailer is. Good question.
And honestly, like on the lakes around here in the fall, I still tend to throw the menace grub and the speed craw. Like,
yeah.
If it gets really cold, like once it drops below like 49, 48, I do have a couple packs of, what is this, this compact craw.
Oh, yeah, yep.
But it's just got, I mean, it's super subtle. Like,
yeah.
It's almost like a spade tail grub with split tails. I mean, it's pretty do nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe like a yum chunk or a zoom chunk or something like that.
Gotcha. Does Omnia have bee fishing tackle or authentic? We do have bee fishing stuff. We got all the bee fishing stuff for all the river rat walleye guys and stuff. Yep, for sure. Chris is more up on all that. I'm just starting to get into that again now. I used to get into all that stuff back in the day when I was still with Cabela's, but I got to learn my walleye plastics again. I've been leaning on the lenders for any sort of education on that. Berkley Jester. I think we have Berkley Jesters.
Is that jerkbait?
Yeah, no, is that the Topwater deal? Oh, Jester, the trailer. Yeah, no, that's that craw with like the articulated claws on it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I haven't tried that. It looks cool.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, you do. If you saw it, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I've seen that thing. It kind of...
Is it a devon?
Remember the devil's spear? Do you remember the Berkley devil's spear? The claws on the craw look like the devil's spear. Yeah. Yeah, that thing looks pretty interesting.
Pure fishing cycles through so many baits so fast. It just they lose me in that, because I'm like, well, when do you ever really know what you're doing if you just like continuously bring things out and just continue them every 2 years? Is like, do you really not believe in what you made to stick with it, even though maybe the consumers were short or slow to lag, or are you really not bringing stuff to the game that works, or what's going on that like I just can't get on board?
There's something to be said for that. When you overwhelm people with that stuff, it's it can be confusing.
Maybe it is a great bait, but how am I going to have confidence to get loyal and build my confidence in the bait if you're just going to probably dump it in a year or two?
I know. I hear you. I learned that the hard way, to your exact point, when I was super back in the day into buying one-off crazy weird lures and bags of plastics I could get from buddies from Japan. And then even if you caught them on it, good luck. How are you going to get them ever again? It's a weird, it's if you're actually fishing competitively, it's a bad idea to fall in love with something that might go away in a year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, what if I love the rocket craw? Do they make that anymore? I don't know. Like,
I hear you.
It's just like.
Mm-hmm. Parker, Lunker City Slug, go black color for sure. Well, if a black Lunker City Slug works on Tonka, I owe you something, Parker.
He's probably throwing those on a chartreuse money head, I'm guessing.
Well, whatever he did last year, he kicked my ass doing it. So if that's what you were doing, Parker, I'm on to you now.
I got something you should try on Tonka. I think. Where'd I put them? I had them out the other night. Where they're at here.
What is that? Just a 6 inch?
6.5 inch hand poured stick bait.
Really? Well, you can't just leave it at that. What are you throwing that on?
Well, I haven't thrown a lot, but I'm thinking 3/16 or quarter-ounce jig head. Just fishing a Magnum jig worm. So, in comparison, like this is a 5 inch.
Yeah.
So just give them that bigger. I mean, why would that, I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing with a slug is giving them a.
Yeah. A hand pour too. I like it. Who's making that?
It's just something I poured from recycled baits.
Beautiful.
Otherwise, another bait that I've been meaning to try. Let's see if I can find them quick. You'd think in a quarantine my boat would be more organized. I think I found them. Let me try this on a jig worm.
Was that a Nico?
It's the reactivation pocket rocket.
Pocket rocket, yeah, okay.
5.5 inch. So like same, a little bit bigger, like lengthwise than a 5 inch stick worm.
Yeah.
But a little different profile. Right. So that's next to a yum hanger. You get a little more length and you're getting a little more fat. You're gonna.
Yeah.
Might be just, they got some sweet colors, so that could be something worth slide on a jig worm with a bigger head.
You're Carolina rigging that thing, Parker. How many pike you catch last year doing that?
I think it's a smoke screen.
I don't know. He did pretty good last year. Oh, look at them. My fave. Maybe. Oh.
Bigs tomorrow. Where's Parker? Where are you fishing tomorrow, Parker?
Where are you Carolina rigging a slug tomorrow?
What's up, Rick?
For dogfish. Actually, it's funny you say that. That was probably in the history of my life the #1 dogfish bait was a slug.
Slug?
Weightless. Back in the day, I went into Wayzata Bait and Tackle, and Tim Sonnenstall that works there told me he had power slugs there, and he said, I was buying them, obviously, for other reasons, for Tonka and stuff. But he said, what do you do with those things? So a bunch of stuff. He goes, we throw those behind frog blow-ups, like in the pockets in the weightless, with just a text rig hook just fired in there weightless. When you miss a fish on a frog, and sure, I just thought of it one day after I was missing a bunch on a frog. I think on Lahamadou. I can't remember where I was. And, God, I blasted a lot of dogfish. The dogfish love them things. Oh, Boji tomorrow, huh? That's a run. Good man. You ever go down there, Rich?
I've never been there. I've always kind of thought about it, but I've never made the effort.
Well,
you?
I was supposed to go down there with Seth a few weeks ago, and I talked him into going other places instead because it was too far. And he's still mad at me about it because we didn't catch him.
Was that his
he wanted to go to. He wanted to go to.
Red Wing?
What's that?
Was that the live in Red Wing instead?
Yeah, he ended up going there a week later, but yeah, no, we went on a search mission down there, and I had some bright ideas that didn't work out that good. Apparently, Uncle Boji was a lot better.
Nice.
Yep. But we caught some walleyes on accident.
Did you knife him?
He did. I went home.
Gotta feed the fam.
Oh.
What's in the cup?
Woodford.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had a couple silver bullets earlier while I had the ribs on the egg.
Yeah. We had a busy day today at work, so had a couple Woodfords tonight and go back at it tomorrow since I'm not going bass fishing anytime soon.
You said you're not sure what you're going to do on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to go crappie fishing, I think, if I can find some place around me that's not mobbed.
Well, here's my idea.
What?
This was what I was going to do last weekend, but I didn't end up going, or if I went out today. Go to Pryor. Because Pryor has white bass in it.
Yeah.
Throw jerkbaits, small crankbaits, high-tech, with white bass.
Absolutely. I like it. I told you my theory on crappies. This is the year I'm going to become an expert tiny crankbait fisherman. I have a whole collection of Japanese tiny crankbaits, and that's what I'm going to throw. Or crappies.
Be good for white bass, too.
They will. They will.
I have a bunch of these little tiny crankbaits, which Parker knows all about. It's BioVex crankbaits.
BioVexers? Mandy Young's.
Well, originally Douglas was the one pushing them to start with.
Was it?
Yeah. So I'm not sure that I bought any of these. I think Douglas maybe gave me most of these.
Yeah. Those look like you could get away with throwing those on a bait caster.
They were called AMP at first, and then they went to BioVex afterwards.
Oh.
But they do look like they'd be good.
Crappie crankbaits.
So you're going to go out and catch some crappies and then do a video, and then...
No videos.
Then you can sell them all on eBay as crappie crankbait.
No, I'm gonna just. I'm legitimately trying to catch a whole bunch of crappies on a crankbait. Accidental catches, I'll be jacked up about, but I'm legitimately gonna make an attempt to become a gangster crappie crankbait fisherman in the spring.
Nice. I always say that, and then I never really catch crappie.
I know. I hear you. Me too.
Did you ever get duped into buying these things?
What? Oh, dude, is it not Man's? Is it
Bill
Man's?
Lewis stutter step?
Was it Bill Lewis?
Yep, stutter step.
Yeah,
Bill Lewis.
Yeah.
I think I caught a couple
Yeah. No.
Taking this out of the box.
No, the only topwater I ever got talked into buying because everybody else was buying them was the shower blows, and I got them and I actually caught them on it, and I was obsessed.
Well,
with them.
that bait's legit, though.
Yeah, exactly. But the funny thing is like, it was one of the weirdest coincidences ever because I had no idea it was even coming. But the next year, I was at the Daiwa National Sales Meeting, which I believe Greg Johnson's on here from Daiwa, and he can back me up on this. It was like 3 months after I found out shower blows were actually cool, and I was ordering them on eBay. And I showed up to the national sales meeting and found out that we were going to get to slaying evergreen. So I was all fired up.
Yeah, we got hooks. So tangly. I don't know, he might have dropped off. We've kind of lost numbers, so.
Yeah.
He must have bored him to death.
I must have. There's the one. That's a nice one. Bone.
That's to me, like.
Yeah, that thing's the deal, dude. It's the deal.
Bone. Especially on the river, that's about all I'm going to throw with bone.
And you can throw it 100 miles.
What's that?
And you can throw the thing 100 miles. It's the biggest, like...
That was quite as good as like a Vixen, but...
I think you can throw a shower blows pretty far. I can haul that thing. Oh, yeah?
Like, that was bone.
Yeah. And
now it's darn near clear.
And been eaten. Yeah. Is that a Vixen in your right hand?
Yeah, like OG.
Yeah.
one. The EMA.
Yeah, it's an EMA one, huh? Yep.
They're big. It's pretty, like, way bigger than the shower blow.
They make some 150 size shower blows now that are the size of your arm. Yeah. Yeah, it's
this is a borderline striper bait.
Yeah. They make a shower blows bigger than that EMA now. You guys change your hooks on the 110 plugs? Parker wants to know.
Not until they're dull.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty light. They will bend out, so they do get torn up. But I usually fish them to start.
Mm-hmm.
I don't catch that many fish on jerkbaits. I'll be honest with you. Like that's.
It's almost the hooks that come on that bait, Parker, are the way that bait's designed. And they stick them better with those hooks. But I don't know. I've had to switch them out because I broke them or bent them, and I didn't have a line on the hooks for a while. Now I can get some more, but there are situations, especially with shallow ones, of like Edo shiners and stuff, where you want to switch them up to some heavier hooks if you're fishing them faster. But they're going to sink. That's another shower blows, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, like Topwaters, I'm all about fancy high end. Like I don't throw Berkley. I don't throw Pradco. I don't throw.
You don't
like,
throw
I'm throwing evergreens. I'm throwing reactivations. I'm throwing yellow magic. I'm throwing like
the best night of, or I shouldn't say, it was a night, but best topwater fishing bite I was ever on in my life was with a Lucky Craft gunfish.
I used to throw a lot of Lucky Craft when they were like when they were rare.
Yeah.
I have quite a few of them, but definitely the shower blow and the Vixen over had like this Brian's Bees.
Oh, dude, those were they were hard to get for a while. Yep.
So that can be fun.
One of the best spawn baits ever.
Got a few Ricos, but I like the yellow magic better. I do have a couple skitter props, but
me and Seth were in New York one night and caught so many fish on gunfishes as fast as you could fish them, like ripping them back as fast as you could. I had no idea till we got back to where we were staying. My entire body was covered in shad scales from the smallmouth spraying shad scales.
Nice.
Like, it was insane.
This is the Kelly J Lucky Craft.
Oh, yeah. Yep. The prop spin one. Yeah,
wasn't that great. I don't even own a Sexy Dog mat.
Yeah.
I have a lot of red eye shads. I have a lot of 1.5s. I have a lot of meta scrubs, but I don't throw striking topwaters. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I know people catch them on a Sexy Dog, but it's just like, at what point do you stop? Like, I've already got 2 giant boxes of topwaters, and they're all fancy ones. And
yeah, it's hard for me after playing with a lot of them. It's hard to beat that shower blows. It is.
And actually, the yellow magic popper, in my mind, is like it kills like fishing a lot of BFLs and a lot of weekend series on the tournament. That bone yellow magic, I would absolutely fish out of the back of the boat. Everybody talks a big game like, oh no, this buzzbait on the river, this chug bug, that, and then at the end of the day, they're like, what was that called again?
Speaking of that, buzzbaits. Are you a big buzzbait guy?
Mild buzzbait guy. Occasionally, like situationally, I like them. I just don't love. I don't know. I feel like I catch more fish on a frog, or I catch more fish on swim jigs. Like I know, and I think they're okay in Minnesota. I think they're a bigger deal in a lot of other places than here. Like, if we had shad, I think Buzzbait does a great job replicating a rogue gizzard shad.
Yeah.
I think, and getting those big bites. And I think here, where we don't really have that, I mean, it's still a good bait, and you do catch big fish on it, and it can be really good at times. It has quite the appeal. But yeah, I mean, I've got some old Terminators, I've got some accent buzzers, and I play around with them. And I watch Bassmaster and FLW tournaments, and I see somebody throwing a horny toad or something on the back of a buzzbait, and I get jacked up, and I go out and fish it for 2 hours and get a couple small bass, and then I fish something else and start hammering them. And it's like,
I literally have not thrown one much in my life. You know, I mean, I've obviously thrown a few times, but when we were down in Alabama, I was throwing one a lot this spring on the accent buzzer, to your point, Kenny. And I can't even think of a fish I've ever lost on a buzzbait. And I lost a good one on a buzzbait. Oh, the whole floater? Yeah.
Back when I was younger, I used to love these double buzz with the floaters on them. I have all these old buzzbaits that, like, want the old plastic. Like, this thing doesn't even go in the boat, honestly. Like, I got this.
It's such a common bait, and for me, it's the same in the topwater category. It's the same for me with, like, I probably have thrown a Carolina rig a lot less than 99% of people in Minnesota. I just don't. I have zero confidence in a Carolina rig.
Like, I got this one with metal, and then it's got a counter-rotating plastic 4-blade inside of it.
Yeah. I see that.
This one I actually caught quite a few fish at the skirt's gone at one point. But I would say that, how about that one?
Yeah, that's good buzzbait.
That's
yeah.
Right.
I have that same one.
I was throwing buzzbaits more. This Terminator, I probably caught more fish on than anything.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those.
I've seen a lot of big fish get caught on them, man.
There's a jig with a Guido bug stuck in there. I feel like this box could be sorted, and most of it could be donated to a coach school fishing team.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe what's this? Like, break this off for the crappies.
There you go. Yep.
So we'll just put that back up there for a couple more years.
How much of a buzzbait guy you are, like me?
I mean, when I go down, I bought, like, we had a tournament back in April in Gunnersville, and I bought a bunch of, like, Jacob Wheeler accent buzzbaits, thinking I was like, oh yeah, and then I think this is one of the. That might be one of the. Oh man, that one got.
That ain't one of those there.
I think that's one of the accents, isn't it?
No, it's not an accent. The head's too long.
I don't know what it is then. Somebody's toading buzzbait, I guess.
Yeah. It's definitely a toad buzzbait, like you said, but the accent's got like a little diamond head on it.
And honestly, now, if good night, Matt. Like, honestly, like, I used to probably catch more buzzbait bass throwing them over like weed flats.
Yeah.
Like where you would throw like a walking bait or something.
Sure.
But now I would probably throw a chopo or a plopper in that scenario.
Up here for sure, I agree with you. It's saying me like, the Carolina riggers out on Minnetonka and everywhere. That's football jig dirt for me. If I'm gonna drag it, I'm not gonna throw a Carolina rig. And it's weird because I'm sure I've got my butt kicked more than not by guys Carolina rig, and I just don't have the confidence in it.
I definitely have more confidence in a sea rig than a football jig, but I don't like to throw either one of them.
There you go. Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. I got way more in a football jig.
Do you want to come back for a few minutes after the break here in 15 seconds?
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
We're not going to go another hour, but we'll come back for
All right, cool. All right, bye.
Jacob's back. Pete's back. Jacob's not getting his homework done.
Nope.
Can you text Jacob's mom and tell him to get his homework done?
We need Jacob to make more pages for more baits.
Yeah, so I was topwater. So like Tonka, I feel like is one of the hardest lakes to get bit on a topwater. Do you agree?
Oh, well, 100% during normal tournament hours. In the evening, they're dumber than hell on a topwater. Not necessarily giants, but not during tournament hours. I don't think I've ever weighed a bass in a tournament on Minnetonka and on a topwater that I could think. Oh, other than a frog in the early one.
Sure, but like in general, like not a good topwater lake.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Like I would bet that you go walk the decks of a Denny's tournament or anything like that, you are not going to see many topwaters.
100%.
Maybe an occasional frog or something like that.
I remember a Wednesday nighter once. I can't remember who it was. Somebody, I think I got second, or I might have sucked. I don't remember. Either way, like we walked up and whoever won it was like, yeah, I won it on a popping frog on those bluegill schools that are like busting outside the weed lines, and it was like I've never seen 30 dudes want to beat a guy up in my life. They're all like, no, dude, there's been more freaking topwaters thrown at those fish in the history of mankind and they've never eaten a freaking topwater in their lives on that lake. And tonight's the night they just choked it. So either that guy was the greatest liar in the history of mankind, but that's pretty. To your point, there's schools of bluegills the size of a football field busting on the surface, and you could throw everything you wanted over the top from dusk till dark, and good luck catching anything over 2 1/4.
Yeah, that lake will make you learn to not like topwaters.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But like you go to like other tournament lakes, like Alexandria Chain, Whitefish.
Lahamadu, I caught him on a topwater there.
They chew topwaters on those other lakes.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, them fish just get so educated, I think, that or it's just like they're so used to being driven over by pleasure boats and skiers and wakeboards, and maybe they're just like, I don't know, but like there's something about it. They get conditioned to not eat topwaters like they do on other lakes, for sure.
You're not wrong, because I can, for as many days as I put in out there, I don't think I've ever heard a buzzbait clacking around or seen somebody really doing much. That's a normal tournament fisherman anyway.
I mean, definitely situationally, right? Yeah, I'm sure there's windows, but like day in and day out, it's just not going to play in a derb.
No, not out there. Like I said, take the spring ones out, because I've seen it and done it and had friends that do it and stuff in the early
ones. Late fall, right? I'm sure there's probably a buzzbait plays a little bit in like the September, October type thing.
For sure. Yeah,
whipping a buzzbait between docks and things like that.
But that goes to prove the argument people get in about fish conditioning. It's so insanely. There's something to it like crazy. I mean, I was up at the Linder Media offices a couple months ago, and I got into that conversation with those guys again, and how much they've shown and they've proven over and over again the fish conditioning to certain stuff, like whether it's Mille Lacs or whatever, like the trends that they follow and all that stuff, on how certain baits will catch the hell out of them for years, and if it gets done too much, those fish will get off of it and get off of it hard. And just goes to show you that back in the day, someone must have thrown a frog and a buzzbait a lot on Minnetonka.
Well, and it's weird because like down south, I feel like on these highly pressured lakes, people throw topwaters, and that's how they do get the big bites.
But to your point, though, they're shad fisheries, right. And those shad, they're following shad migration, shad movement, and all that stuff. And it's not so much. I mean, Minnetonka's a spot lake; everybody knows it. It's not necessarily a pattern like down south where.
And it does have big bait fish because it's got like golden shiners and stuff in it, right? So,
it does.
There must be something about the behavior of the golden shiner that doesn't elicit or doesn't create the fish behavior that a shad does, like a gizzard shad.
I agree. Because, I mean, it very rarely, I'm sure someone's done it in the history of Minnetonka, but you're not going to run a pattern on Tonka. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be like, oh, I got one on a point, and just start hitting points all day long and kick the crap out of everybody. It's going to be 2 points that one boat sat on all day long, or if you have a point or two that are loaded and you kick. It's a spot lake, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can get honest, but it's not. You're not going to go point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to run all the points that you know and all across the lake.
Yeah.
Right.
It's spot on the spot stuff. We're down south, like to your point, if you're fishing a topwater on whatever, drains on a bluff wall or something like that. You get
transition.
Yeah, you get a bite.
Pockets.
You start running that and you start nailing it all over the place just like that because all the shad are loaded up in front of the drains in this spot or something. But I'm in a Tonka. You could have the top 10 all have been doing. One guy's been fishing a football jig on the rocks. One guy was flipping. One guy was fishing docks all day. One guy was doing this. One guy was doing that because it was spot on the spot stuff versus a pattern. And I think Chad Lake's just set up that way better, you know.
But I do think tournament mortality doesn't affect the overall population of a lake that much. No. Now, what tournament mortality does is it kills the dumb fish, the aggressive fish.
Yeah.
So those fish that, I mean, there's just like humans, right? There's humans that are aggressive in nature, and there's humans that are laid back, and there's humans that eat a lot, and there's humans that don't eat a lot, and there's like humans that are picky, and there's humans that'll eat anything, right?
Yeah.
And there's fish and bass and crappie and everything is the same way. So the more fish that you harvest or kill, whether it's through tournaments or anywhere else, over time, those are your dumber, more aggressive fish.
100%.
So then you're going to leave smarter fish in the system, and those smarter fish continually to keep breeding with smarter fish. Those fish get harder to catch over time. Just like
it's really true. I mean, it is. I mean, you look at Gunnersville, right, which is clearly kicked out stupid bags forever, no matter the fact that Wednesday you can't find a parking spot, and it's loaded full of guys bass fishing, and you see all these guys that just catch these monster bags. Yet, if someone like myself drives down there, puts in, doesn't have any information, no one tells me gives me dots or tells me where to fish, it's not as easy to catch them as you think it'd be, and you're like leaving going, Alabama sucks, man. Minnesota's way better, you know what I mean? But
unless you're
right.
Kenny.
Yeah.
He catches them in Gunnersville all the time. He's awesome.
Who's that?
Kenny,
yeah. It's just those fish are more educated. They're smarter. It's harder to catch them. And if you know how to do it, you can jack them. But it's, to your point, if you're going to do that to a fishery, you better know what you're doing when you go out there and fish.
Well, that's the thing is like if you condition, I think when we think about conditioning fish, we're not conditioning the whole population. We're conditioning the fish that are prone to react to that style of bait.
For sure.
Right? Like there's a certain kind of fish that probably weren't ever going to hit a rattle trap or a lipless crank, or they weren't going to hit a plopper, or they weren't like, that's not what triggers them, right? That doesn't turn them on, right? Just like some guys like big butts and some guys like boobs, right? Like, so there's different baits are going to trigger different fish. So I think what you do is that's why we see lure cycles more, is because we're conditioning the fish that are, attracted to that type of sound or bait or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that kind of goes through a phase where like all those fish get yanked because those are the ones that react to a plopper. And then you go through and like you've caught all the ones that like you've trained all the ones that are going to eat a black power slug. And now you got to find the ones that want to eat a pocket.
The other discontinued one. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. That's Al Linder brought up a story that he said that there was like 2 or 3 years on Mille Lacs this is way back in the day, like 60s, 70s. He said you literally couldn't do anything wrong with a purple spoon. Like they would just they'd paint them purple and they would troll them or cast them or jig them off the bottom or whatever. And he said, go there right now and you'll die before you catch a fish on it. He said, I have thousands of videos of you couldn't do it wrong with a purple spoon. It didn't matter what species it were, whatever it was, but they did it so much they just conditioned the fishery to it. And
I think a lot of it is some of it's conditioning, but I think those most aggressive fish in a fresh, untouched fishery end up just they choke on baits and die.
Yeah.
They get the live wells and get stressed and die. They end up going and Crisco. Like the aggressive fish over time, once a lake gets popular, just get plucked. And then you're just going to have the smarter fish left, and then it just gets harder. That's just what happened.
Then you got to throw 1/4 ounce crankbaits,
hair jigs, and or you got to go opposite, right? Like sometimes I think we get too finessey, right? Like all of a sudden everybody's throwing a Ned rig, but then like Keith Combs go up there and wrecks him on a 1 ounce football jig.
I know, that made me so sick.
And you were like, "Oh, this is awesome, and I can't wait to go up there and throw a football jig."
That's my jam, and I've been up there a billion times, like everybody else,
and just lost 1,400 football jigs in a row,
and not randomly caught a giant on a football jig and committed to it for like half a day while everybody beat the brakes off them on a swimmer all around me. And
what they didn't show you is that Keith Combs is sponsored by Strike King, and he had 4,000 football jigs, and he probably broke off 800 of them a day. And didn't even care.
Yeah, maybe. But
so someday these fish will get conditioned to the Ned head, and then power techniques will come back.
I sure as heck hope so. Because I suck at Ned rig fishing, that's for sure. That's not my jam.
I sent some of my Ned heads down to a guy on Lanier, and he said he absolutely wrecked them today.
Good.
Big spots, he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a good fall last year on Mille Lacs with them, but that's it. Not really other than that. Tonka, it's kicked my butt. I haven't done much of it, or anywhere I'm supposed to actually fish it. But,
do a lot of people throw them on Tonka? I mean, is that...
Yeah, a lot of guys do. A lot of guys that have gotten real consistent are good at it, but they can sit there and soak, and that's become a real thing out there, sitting there soaking, and I just can't. I suck at it.
On Tonka, couldn't you just dead stick a 4-inch stickworm on a...
If you could, I think that I'd have done something with it, because I've sure as hell tried it, man, but maybe I just suck that bad at it. I don't know. I just it seems to be something with the Ned and a little bait and a floating bait or whatever it is that's making it work. But you can see him doing it. Trust me, that I've watched him. I've run by him 5 times in a day and been like, that dude's still there, still ain't casting.
Are they throwing it on the weed edges, or are they more throwing it where you would throw the football jig?
Both, definitely both. And there's some tournaments where they look like heroes, and there's some tournaments where they look like zeros. So, but it's definitely it's becoming more and more of a player. And if you think about it, you know that fishery enough to say that makes a lot of sense. You know, a lot of those spots have fish on them for a reason. They get tons of pressure. And if you're willing to sit there and die on the vine with the Ned head sitting on the bottom and not move for a day, you could be a hero.
That sounds awful.
It does, doesn't it?
I'd rather die.
Yeah, I know. It does.
I used to fish, they don't really have it, the Panaprog tournament on Lake Marion down in Lakeville every year.
Yeah.
And it's not, Marion, if you've been on there, it's not a big lake.
I know of it, but I've never been on it, yeah.
So, it's right on the highway, 40-boat tournament, and it's like, if you get on a deep spot, there's some guys that'll sit there all day because they're worried there won't be another spot. And they'll sit there, and they would just sit there and dead stick a jig worm.
Yeah.
7 hours. Like, they would probably make 10 casts an hour.
No, not
like I'm like, I wanted a couple times and had some high finishes, but I would never do that. Like, I'd rather not cash a check than do that. Like, they would literally, in a time before spot lock, they would throw out anchors on both sides of the boat on a spot and sit there all day, never put their trolling motor down.
Yeah, no, and it's not in me to do it. It's not in.
But that's just not even fun. Like, that's.
It's not in me. I'd love to say that I know better, like should work on that and get better at that, but I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Those guys should fish walleye tournaments because they're not fishing a bass tournament.
Oh, I know. and they're completely comfortable with fishing right next to somebody else. So
yeah.
But I just can't do it. If that's what it turns into, then I'm gonna donate for another whole year because I can't do it.
Yeah, like either that or I'd have to bring so many sandwiches that I'd weigh 300 pounds.
I really think a big swimmer is going to play more this year. It's been playing more and more every year on Tonka. And,
like when you say big swimmer, like a 4.8 Kitech or
no, like a mag draft and line throughs, and gliders and stuff like that. There's some big dumb ones still that live there.
I just ordered a couple glides today.
I just ordered Carl's. I've been talking to Carl Jochimson a bunch, and so I ordered his glider. I
waited on that one. I had that one. I ended up getting some Arashis, and then I got the Bait Sanity Antidote glide.
I have a bunch of Gancrafts from my relationships back in the day with Diode, so I got some presents. Well, they were presents, and they're goofy colors, so I'll hook you up if you need. And I got the Rashis when they were working on doing those, and then I ordered Carl's. And I can honestly tell you I have not caught 12 bass on a glide bait in my life.
Yeah, I've not caught a ton. I've caught a few on the river to sea.
Yeah, you were telling me that, and that's why I was going to ask you, like, what other ones are good ones to, like, if you're going to dive into it and whip them around, what to try.
Hopefully after this year I can tell you.
Yeah, I'm same boat. I got stuff to throw them, and I got a whole bunch, and I look like I know what I'm doing, and I don't.
So yeah, I've heard good things about the Bait Sanity, and then another one I heard that was pretty good is one of the Savage Gear for being an inexpensive glide.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, I had some buddies tell me that too. Parker, I'm throwing. Last year the last couple of years I threw a glide on the 7.9 Kage Swimbait rod. That it's been good. It's been good. I might get Brandon's Alpha Angler one and try that.
Yeah, I have a 7.9 Dobbins Mike Long special.
Yeah, Mike Longer. Yep, I hear you.
And then obviously I got plenty of other rods that I can.
Do you?
The one I'm looking to throw right now, I can still throw on a big jig rod.
Yeah,
If I start moving up to the depths 250s and some of those, I
won't get into that stuff. That's not my thing. I actually like the idea of gliders showing you big fish and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into the big giant ones.
I mean, if they cost $30-40, I would. But when they cost $70, $80,
I've seen some crazy stuff in Chicago, man. Like crazy stuff. Like,
are we still talking about fishing?
Yeah. both, but like glider stuff, like one-offs from Roman made and stuff get sold at like shows and stuff that are like big buck stuff. Like, you're like,
well, that's good. I just thought somebody got maybe like Carolina Fishing Tackle or somebody got in a batch of Roman made something, and I didn't even look at the price, but I'm sure they were $200-300, and they had to say only one per customer. It's like, who's gonna buy? Who can buy 10 of those?
Right. Oh yeah. I remember at Daiwa, if Greg's still on here, he could say our rod engineer was one of my best friends there, York Oda, lives in Germany now. He made a rod for Roman maids and was like, here, these are a new rod we got. And I'm like, there's like 8 guys in the world that can buy a Roman made, dude. Like, and that rod went nuts. People bought it. Like, there's a lot of guys who throw that thing, and it's like, it's a 5-pound lure. Like, it blows my mind, but people buy them things. They do. I like 178's as big as I play.
I think the biggest bait I have is over here.
Black dog.
The lunker plunker.
Oh. Is that like a plopper deal?
It's more like a spook giant.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What is that?
This is a wood one.
Yeah. What's it weigh?
Oh, let me see. I got a scale.
What's it feel like? Is it over 2 ounces?
I'll tell you. I have a scale for it. This lunker plunker weighs 2.6 ounces.
Big. That's big for me. There's a lot of guys that are laughing at me right now.
Yeah, so I would say I got this, and then my River to Sea.
What's the S-Waver weigh? Yeah.
200. Right, there's the 200 S-Waver.
Yeah.
That's a Topwater, like a spook type plug.
Yeah.
Does the S-Waver have the weight on it? Sure. 3.5 ounces.
3.5. Okay, yeah, no. So that's about. So then I'd say I'm in the 3 ounce range. Because I have a lot of 178 type Japanese ones and stuff.
This is pretty close to 3 ounces. But
yeah.
It almost has like a foil.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool bait.
Yeah.
That's cool.
These things I think are pretty pricey, and I don't think they're easy to get. I think I must have won this. I don't remember buying this.
Like I was telling you, big line throughs is the only thing I'd actually throw Derby Day.
Yeah, throw some Dream Smashers and things like that, but that thing's got a legit tail feather though. That thing's like sweet.
What? Oh, is that on an S-Waver?
No, that's on that punker.
Oh, it's on that big Topwater guy.
Look how big the tail feather is.
Yeah,
on it.
I hear it. Oh, that'd be a fun one. I got a big giant shower blows I'll give you. That sounded bad, but I have a big giant shower blows.
But the thing is, like, this thing, like, is just the thickness of it. Because I can compare that to, like, that Ema stick, which is a big bait.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, lengthwise, they're similar, but girth-wise, this punker is just meaty. Like,
yeah. Oh, it's a different ball game, dude.
I mean, like,
yeah. You put some big giant out barbs on that giant one, you can just throw it on top of them and knock them out and stick them in the back of the head. That thing's big.
this thing would be sweet. It gets me fired up.
It'd be fun to catch them on that. One eats that, you'd be feeling it.
That's the thing is, like, if we lived in a place that had double-digit bass, like this thing was like, I think if you go back and watch some of that big bass posse stuff, like there was a period where they were crushing them on these things.
Yeah. S-Waver is gas, Parker, huh?
I probably would have more confidence catching them on this than a spinnerbait, though. So
why is that?
I don't know.
I'm the same.
I've never been a big spinnerbait guy.
I own more spinnerbaits, I think, than most people I know, and I do not catch them on a spinnerbait. I don't.
I used to a little bit. Like I remember catching them on like gull and Lahamadou back in the day, spinnerbaits a lot. But to me, a swim jig and a chatterbait have just taken over.
Me too.
Now, when I go down south and fish regional tournaments, I will pick up a spinnerbait more.
Yeah. Well, I just loaded up on spinnerbaits right before we fished on Smith on that tournament this spring, and literally not a fish. Chatterbait kicked the dog. I mean, everybody I talked to, get this spinnerbait. Not a bite.
Stock stickers.
I got all of them. I got the little finesse war eagles. The coolest one was that Sandtone. But my buddy Aaron got some of the Bassman ones. from a buddy of ours, and he caught some on the Bassman one, but I didn't have any. It was all chatterbait.
What about these?
Tamiki, what is that? The Stanger?
It's the Stinger.
Yeah. Stanger. You got to say it like Brian Thrift.
Yeah.
Tamiki Stanger.
According to him, everybody should be buying these because these are literally the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, he certainly has the numbers to back it up if he caught him on those things. But
I've caught a few fish. I haven't thrown them a ton.
Yeah. No.
That wouldn't be a bad. I mean, what I've thrown them mostly is on a jig worm, and they did pretty well on mini wasta, but there's a million fish in that lake. So maybe this is your new secret weapon against Parker on a jig worm.
I need all the help I can get against Parker. I'll take it all.
That's my recommendation.
I'm going backwards hard.
Or this one I thought was pretty good on a jig worm.
What is that? The Missile 48?
Yeah.
I've never fished with one. Are they good? Don't know.
I mean, it was pretty good as a jig worm.
Like,
a little different. Like it kind of got that like heavy, and it kind of. I mean, it flops over.
Yeah.
Like.
Has it got a flat bottom?
Huh?
Has it got a flat bottom on it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's got a nice blunt end in it. You don't have to like find it off to like a jig worm in it.
No. We have quivers coming pretty quick here at Omnia. Yeah.
You were supposed to tell.
That's not one of the top secret ones. That one I'm pretty sure everybody knows since we've been getting yelled at about those.
You got some sweet colors in this 48. That was another bait that ended up in the clearance bin at Gander that I tried and was pleased with.
48s?
Yeah. I think Jacob's talking about the 48 as well.
They're durable and dense. The cast really well. I'll have to try them.
I didn't know that they're great stellar, but they're pretty good fish catcher.
Yeah. I'll take all the help I can get. Although, I have enough Z-Man stuff to sink a boat, even though it floats, so I don't know how that would work, but it just, this year, Z-Man stuff, I just didn't do that good on it. The year before, I thought the stuff was made out of fish magnet juice. Now, this year, I didn't do as well on it. At least Derby.
Yeah, I probably could only put not even one of these bags of Z-Man.
Really? Yeah. Oh, I went down.
A few hula sticks, a few TRDs. That's about it.
Yeah, the year before last, it was like the awakening. I fought it and didn't want nothing to do with it. Then I caught the hell out of them for a year on it, and it was like, this is replacing all plastics I have. And then last year, went to 180 on that one, but did not work for me.
So glide baits on Tonka, that's going to be your thing.
Yeah, no, so if you see me zero in all the Denny's this year, you know I was taking my zero like a goddamn man. That was even the big one around. No,
maybe this is the top water that will work on Tonka.
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
You're probably going to get a bite sooner or later, but it may not be a bass.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. That's the truth. And the muskies were back for me last year, that's for sure. I caught a bunch last year.
On the football jig?
Football jig, and to be honest with you, got one on a shower balls in the evening on some bluegills. I caught a bunch. I actually caught quite a few muskies last year. The years before that, I was telling all my buddies that are muskie guys, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't catch it. Like, there were years where you caught them accidentally all the time, and then I went a few years where I didn't catch many at all. And I'm like, I don't know, they just got smart. They don't eat bass lures anymore for me. And then last year, they were back on the bass lures. I caught a bunch.
I don't know how many years it's been since I've been on Tonka. Probably 5.
No kidding. I can't wait for the day I can say that. But I still keep saying until I accomplish some goals out there, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to keep getting my head beat into the wall.
Well, let me know. I'll come out and I'll throw stupid stuff out of the back of your boat and help you practice.
I love that idea, actually. The only problem is I throw a lot of stupid stuff apparently off the front of the boat, so now we both we're not working well as a team.
Okay, I'll throw what I know works.
Yeah, there you go. That might help. That might help. All right, well, my phone's about to die. I keep getting notifications I'm about to die.
Sounds good. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to pack up some Bass Tech jigs for your competitors and call it a night.
All right, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Have a good one. See ya.